1, 2, 3, 4. Do, 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 do. Pow, pow, pow. All right, greetings. We're out here in the wasteland. This is Freedom Phil out of the Survival Pod. And what's the topic? When it comes to the Epstein and the legacy of Epstein, can we just be honest about it? Any of the politicians talking about this shit, neither one really cares about the issue. They're just using it as ammunition for either side. And I think that's kind of interesting how people have lost sight of that reality and some of the little bit of history on it. Yeah. Where we're going with this, Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, and hey, turn up the video speed. Why do I always say that? Because, dude, watch the videos at 1.75. Watch videos faster. Why wouldn't you? Yeah. Let's get into it. So, I'm watching some of the, interviews and inquiries on this issue, and I just think it's funny because, you ever watch one of those true crime, cold cases, and they go for the most obscure things, interview as many people as possible because they're trying to find out, and, they're finally trying to get that conviction to give the aging parents some closure that, yes, they finally busted the person. I was watching this deal the other night with this individual that had his way with this woman and then killed her, knifed her a bunch of times, left the body out with the books and whatnot. And they spent years, usually it was just they drop the case, then someone picks it up and tries to figure it out. And after being able to connect enough dots together, they got the guy. They spent all this energy to get this guy. Sad thing was because of the way the law was written, because the case was from ages ago, the guy only got 2 years and only served about 1 or less because he was already in jail for while he was being on trial. Travesty of justice, right? But they spent all this manpower and energy to get this one guy. You have the entire federal government and this Epstein situation where it just seems painfully obvious that both parties are definitely involved. There's people of all different stripes. Oh, so many redacted names. And at first they're we're redacting the names of the victims. And then oopsie, all the victims' names are out there. And I wonder why. I can't help but think, I'm not trying to criticize conservatives on this, but isn't it convenient that all the names of the victims that were put out, maybe to silence them, make it well known, so the people that might have perpetrated some of the crimes, and even some of the victims end up becoming perpetrators, groomed at first, exploited, and then actually grooming other people. This happens. These people out there, they bring up these inquiries. And Pam Bondi looked like an idiot the other day, as I clearly said. But some of the points did make sense. Wait a minute. You've known about this since all through Biden's administration. They busted him under Trump, but let's be real. He got busted originally under Obama. So they've known about this stuff the whole time. This is not a new issue. The only thing that's new about it is the day he got busted and, allegedly committed suicide. Allegedly. We don't even know if that's real. I mean, the way things could be deep faked or whatnot, though the cameras went off for a minute, that is such fallacious fake bullshit. That wouldn't surprise me at all if that guy's in some other country, maybe Israel, just having a drink and laughing about it. But then you get down to the political issues. The Democrats knew about this, and they didn't do a serious inquiry on it for ages. Just swept it after he got busted, pedophile island, and this is back when individuals brought this stuff up, the Pizzagate stuff, the actual reporter that did it probably before Alex Jones got onto it, and Alex Jones talked about it. Whether you love him or hate him, they were talking about this. Satanic pedophile cults, blah, blah, blah. And it sounds so ridiculous that it's that can't be true. And then some of it comes out to, oh shit, be true. And people are like, whoa, whoa. But your government that sometimes will go out there and spend how much money going after a cold case. And you know what? I can understand the reasoning. You just want to solve it. You want to give closure to the parents. They can manage to tie together The smallest of things. They can manage to be like, oh, we're going to put this together, and we finally got the criminal. We got the DNA evidence. And yet when it comes to Epstein, and it is a valuable thing that they asked, the Trump administration, Pam Bondi and all that, did you bother to interview the victims? Hey, hold up your hands if you were interviewed, and none of them held up their hands. Hold up your hands if you wanted to be interviewed, and they hold up their hands. Now, I'm not sorry to be crashing on Trump, but in the same way, we could ask the same fucking question of the Biden administration as well. And then the first Trump administration. And we could take it all the way back to Obama. The only reason these people care about this issue, and this is what I find really the real legacy of Epstein, the only reason they give a shit is to try to use it as a weapon. Just like they did with the January 6ers, just like they did with Benghazi, just like they did with so many other little conspiracies. Did you, hey. It's one side or the other, and in this case, both sides know that someone that either of their sides is affiliated with it, is affiliated with it. And that's why they didn't go after it. But now they're like, if we could use it as political capital to take out our enemies for politics. And it's both fucking sides. The Democrats the Democrats are practically like the Neo-Caligula party at this point. Some of the shit they talk about in the Epstein stuff, you're like, wow, yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all if a Democrat was doing that. But then you look at the Republicans and you think, if this was such a slam dunk for you, why aren't you interviewing the women it happened to? Why are you giving this point to the Democrats? And then we have to think, maybe you're part of the Neo-Caligula party as well. I'm just saying, the legacy of Epstein's won't be that maybe for a handful of billionaires will get a slap on the wrist, get a little bit of time, and then go to a comfortable jail and then be released early. The legacy of Epstein is all this shit will happen. And inevitably, what will end up happening is, well, it'll all just be used for political capital. And the actual victims will be forgotten. It'll be, in a weird way, ironically, kind of like one of those wars where we talk about, back when such and such happened. But the people who died in it, the people that were actually the casualties, the victims, well, those are just names no one will remember. Meanwhile, the machine will go chugging along. I don't know, that's just my thoughts on it. I think it's a little ridiculous how, I watch these politicians going back and forth. Instead of just opening up the case, exposing the case, solving the fucking case. And, it's like what Asmongold said. You can't have politicians that effectively are compromised like this. Because you'll know that they're totally compromised the more they try to normalize the behavior. They try to normalize the thing that they know that you would crucify them of. That's what they do. And maybe that's part of the reason they're trying to trans your kid or, question the age, maturity. They're trying to do anything they can to normalize the shit they were already doing. And by the way, I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm not surprised that some of that generation was into like younger women. You're talking about the 50s, 60s generation who basically, that is exactly what they did back in the day. It was normal if you were an older man and you were successful, or if you just had your shit remotely together, you were looking for a young woman. That was normal back then. Do you think the rich live by the same rules? Do you think the politicians and the elite live by the same fucking rules that they force on you? Like, basically, what worked for thousands of years was just canceled yesterday. Do you think those people have to live by those rules? No, they can skirt right past them. And, if you go, honestly, if you go to some of the other countries, like the European countries, the age of consent be like 16, 15. I think some countries it's even 14, like Brazil's 14. What we crucify our politicians for is normal in other parts of the world. And what I'm getting at with that is, if you got a bunch of people that have enough money to black bag anybody, and black bag, then there's not going to be a grave found. There's going to be a crematorium and some ashes spread randomly somewhere. Oh, we just dumped them off a boat into a lake. Do you think those people have to live by your rules? No. And so inevitably, they know that none of them are really going to go to jail. There's going to be a handful of them that are thrown under the bus. Okay, sorry, it sucks to be you. But it's just going to be used as political capital for either side, just like Benghazi, just like the January 6ers, just like how everybody, just kind of like how everybody forgot how the people that did BLM, the people who did BLM, hear me out, got rich, bought rich mansions in the whitest of whitey part of Beverly Hills, and just forgot the movement altogether. Because the movement was never real. The outrage is just out there. The outrage is just to get the public to get behind them so they can take the seat of power again. So if they're rigging elections, it looks more legit on whichever side you think's rigging the elections. And that's where I come back to my basic theories of our American politics. We don't have a two-party system. We have a two-headed giant. It's the same body. It's a uni-party. It's the same body, just different talking heads. And you're crushed underfoot. And every 4 years, we're all given this great grand illusion of choice. We're given this great grand illusion of choice. And that choice is, do you want this piece of used toilet paper or the even shittier option of used toilet paper? If these people cared about this issue, you would see the level of effort they put into solving cold cases. Not all the cold cases, but a lot of cold cases where they finally solve them. It takes years. You would see that level of dedication and effort. But what do you see with both parties? It goes all the way back to Obama when he got busted. Obama covered it up. Trump covered it up. Biden covered it up. And when they start releasing information, they're redacting, they're trying to cover up things, because both parties are so fucking in this. And the only thing they can think to do, and it reminds me, you guys ever seen that movie, The Dark Crystal? It reminds me of the Stexies fighting for power after, the emperor dies. They're just like, oh, it's mine, it's mine. They're not out there talking about Epstein because they give a shit about the victims. Help, some of their friends made victims. They're just talking about it to see how much damage they can do to each other in order to take the next party, the next governor's race, the next presidency. If we get it, we can put our people in charge and butt fuck the country. And it's pretty sad because I remember how bad the religious right was, but now with the authoritarian left, you're like, go a little bit back the other way. Maybe we get back to that same middle ground versus you, me, normal people being tied to the center of this teeter-totter of sewage. And every so often it goes one way too far and a bucket of shit goes fucking pouring onto us. And then it goes the other way, too far the other way, and another bucket of shit goes pouring on us. The legacy of Epstein won't be that the victims see any sort of real justice. Maybe there'll be a lawsuit. Maybe there'll be something. It'll be that the politicians fought like the fucking Dark Crystal Stexies over how to best use this power to butt fuck their enemies. But if you really look at it, none of these two parties are going to be greatly affected by this. There'll be a few people that have to resign, and they'll just replace them with some other equally corrupt Caligula party style people. Honestly, I think we need to clean house of all the old guard of politicians. All of them. Because this is the only thing they know how to do, is fight each other. Fight over nothing. And it's the big show. It's a big dog and pony circus show. And I'd just like to see the whole thing cleaned out. Like that song from Tool, Anima. Anyways, Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, take it easy.